Alrighty, well, welcome to today's webinar. It's titled 14 Building Hacks That We've Learned from Hiring Over 4,000 Real Estate Professionals. Now, my goal for you today is very, very specific. I want you to be able to walk away from today's webinar with a map, a plan for how you can hire smarter in 4 simple steps. Okay? Now, this won't necessarily be how to hire easy. I know hiring isn't always necessarily easy, but I want to show you how you can hire smarter in 4 simple steps, okay? So that's what you're going to get out of today's training. And also, if you stay until the end, I have a free gift for you. We're going to be giving away 3 different resources that we have here inside MyOutDesk. We call it Mod Attract, Mod Hire, and Mod Launch. And what they are is Mod Attract is our templates for our best-in-class job ads and postings and how to actually get talented people to respond. Mod Hire is our process and our template for actually onboarding and hiring somebody and interviewing them. And then Mod Launch is our process for onboarding and launching a new hire and making sure that you can get the most out of them in the first 30, 60, 90 days and actually get results with them. So for those of you who stay until the end, I am going to give you the URL where you can go and download Mod Attract, Mod Hire, and Mod Launch as free gifts, okay? Now, one quick thing before we jump in here, focus gets results. We all know that. But we also think we can multitask, and part of our job day-to-day as agents is that we do have to multitask a lot. But look, you're investing your time here into this webinar today with me, and that's not lost on me that we're busy and that you're choosing to give me your time. And so I want to be able to give you at least 10x return on your time invested in this webinar today. But the only way I can do that is if you play your part and give me your focus, okay? I promise to deliver some epically good content today, some very actionable and applicable content. I will give that to you today, but in exchange, if you want to get the value out of it, I can only do so much. You've got to focus. So focus gets results. Please turn off any other screens you have. Turn off any distractions you've got, Facebook, Messenger, Skype, whatever you've got going, your Slack channel or your Glip app. Whatever you're on, just give me your focus for 60 minutes and I promise it will be well worth it, okay? Now, before we dive in here, you might be asking, well, who are these guys and why should I listen to them about, how I should be hiring my team and how I should be expanding my team? Well, here's what some others are saying. Ken Wimberly, who happens to be one of our clients, is shared recently about his experience around hiring people and about what he learned about the training process and how to hold people accountable and how that delivered results for him. Tristan Ahumada from Lab Coats Agents is also an active real estate agent with Keller Williams. He is also a client of ours, and he recently shared his experience in working with us and what a positive experience has been for him. Then also Nolly Williams shares the same thing as well. His experience about being able to follow our process and be able to onboard high-quality real estate professionals to help him build his business. And he too is a client of ours. Okay, and that's just what a few of our clients are saying. Now the question might be, you might be asking yourself, well, why are they saying this? Did we pay them? Well, no. 1, they're clients of ours, and 2, the reason they're saying this and the reason why it's important for you to pay attention to what I'm going to share with you today is that this webinar, what you're going to learn today, we've distilled these insights from hiring over 4,000 real estate professionals, okay? Real estate assistants, virtual assistants, and professionals. We've hired over 4,000 plus real estate professionals, and we're currently, today, right now, we're currently supporting over 1,000 real estate teams around the nation. That's right, we work literally with over 1,000 teams, supporting them in expanding their teams and building their teams, okay? And we're doing that through over 1,500 placed and currently active virtual real estate professionals, okay, with over literally currently active over 1,500 virtual real estate professionals. So the one advantage that I have and that we have over any individual agent who's building a team, even if you have a great coach, the advantage that we have and that you're going to get access to today in this webinar is the fact that, well, we get to see the back-end data, and we get to see the process and the systems that work in running over 1,500 virtual real estate professionals supporting over 1,000 real estate teams, right? And so what the advantage that we bring to the table and that I'm going to be able to impart on you guys today and give you is the advantage that comes from seeing the big picture and seeing patterns, right? When something happens, 100 times, that's a decent sampling size. When something happens 1,000 times, that's better. We've placed over 4,000 real estate professionals, and we're currently actively running over 1,500 real estate professionals. So, there's a difference between that 4,000 and 1,500. That's because over the last 10 years, well, not everything always worked perfectly, right? But we figured out what works, and so you're going to get access to that. Some of our other high growth clients that you may know and recognize, Tim and Julie Harris, they're clients of ours. They use us. They actually have multiple virtual real estate assistants and professionals with us. Ben Kinney, that's another name that you might recognize. Ben actually has, I think, 6 or 7 virtual real estate professionals and assistants with us, as a matter of fact. Lisa Archer, a name that many of you may recognize. She is a client of ours as well, with multiple real estate professionals placed with us. Andrew and Angela Duncan, awesome couple out of Florida. They as well have virtual real estate professionals placed with us or placed through us, and we're supporting them in their team growth as well. Okay, so those are just a few of the names additional clients that you might recognize. What's different about today, right? You've probably been on a bunch of webinars before. If you're anything like me, you've sat probably through hundreds of webinars in the last few years, or at least it might feel like at least hundreds of hours, right? Well, what's different about today? Well, what's different about today is that there's absolutely no theory here. There's absolutely no theory, and everything that you're about to learn has been hard-won through experience. Through our experience here at MyOutDesk and through the experience of our network of coaches and, of course, the experience of our clients, okay? And you get to benefit from them. Now, nowadays, we're doing a lot of things right, and of course, our clients who work with us are doing a lot of things right. But we did a lot of things wrong, and of course, a lot of, figuring out the process that works. And, a lot of our clients, before they came and worked with us, they were doing a lot of things wrong. Okay, and for the past 10 years or so, this is kind of what we've been watching real estate agents do when they go about team building. And this is what I kind of call the hard way, right? The first thing you got to do is you got to kind of design a team system. You got to sit down and you got to do all that deep thinking work and all that mapping out and vision work of designing what your team system and process is going to look like. Then you've got to go and you've got to write the job description, right? You got to go figure that one out. You got to get good at that. As if that weren't enough, then you have to go write a good job ad, right? And typically the way we go about it is we copy and paste a bunch of other job ads online, and we try to put them together into like a job ad that we think is great, and then we wonder why we keep getting average applicants, right? Then you got to go find the best sites to post on, because if you ever post it on Craigslist, you only do that once or twice before you never do it again, and there's a reason why, right? So then you go out and you got to go pay for better job sites. Well, that costs money and more time, and you got to try to pick and choose which job sites you think will do the best. Well, after doing all that, you're going to go and you're going to have to filter through, hundreds of resumes sometimes, depending on how many positions you're hiring for, depending on how fast you're growing your team. If you, post for one job ad, job role, you might have to filter through 50 to 70 resumes, depending on your job market. If you're hiring for 2, 3, 4, 5 positions at the same time in the same month, because you're scaling more aggressively, well, you're going to be filtering through literally hundreds of resumes. Then you have got to handle screening all those phone calls, right? You've got to handle screening the phone calls that call in or the follow-up phone calls. Then you've got to actually go do the interview process. Now, I don't know about you, but already looking at this description, I'm not an expert at writing job ads. Real estate agents, and it's not part of the real estate agent description to be an expert at writing job ads or placing on the best sites or knowing how to do an interview, right? Then you got to deal with the negotiation part of it. If you actually find somebody that you think is, stands a chance of being successful, then is the even bigger time investment where you got to grind through the training and the onboarding process. This is the one that's just a mountain of work, right? And then, of course, sadly and unfortunately, most hires don't work out in the first 90 days, and you get to repeat the misery all over again, right? How fun is that? So this is the hard way, and this is what we've been watching agents do for about the past 10 years, and we have been obsessing with cracking the code of this and solving for this and making it easier, simpler, more predictable, more effective, and more successful. All right, and so what you're going to do today, what I'm going to show you today, is how you can actually cut your investment, your time investment for hiring people by at least half. So literally, if you follow the 4 steps I show you today, you will be able to cut your time investment for hiring new people by at least 50%. I'm also going to show you how you can hire right more often. I'm going to show you how you can stop burning thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours on training and onboarding misfits, okay? And I'm going to show you how you can see solid results from a new hire in the first 30 days, let alone the first 90 days, okay? Now, we've discovered this after 10 plus years of doing what we're doing, and we discovered all this the hard way by having to go out there, find people, match them with job roles, and then figuring out what works, what doesn't, okay? You today get to cheat, all right, and get the easy way, all right, and you can still get a passing score for even though you are cheating, all right, because we're letting you cheat, we're letting you get access to this. So real quickly, final slide before I dive into the 4 hacks, and I hope you have a notepad and pen ready because, again, like I said before, these are very applicable, these are very real-world tested and proven hacks. So I want you to be able to take notes, and I want you to literally, if you're in the hiring process or in the team building process right now, I want you to be able to turn around and go apply them literally in the next 90 minutes, and then I want you to email me or someone at our team here in the next couple of days and tell us what freaking positive results you've had with what I'm going to show you today, okay? So who this works for. This works well, these 4 hacks can work well for agents making their first hire, okay? This works well for somebody who's going through in their team expansion for just their direct reports and direct team. This works well also for hiring a support team around your listing partners and your buyer's agents. Okay, as you saw, some of the heavy hitters that are our clients, as you can imagine, they've got massive support systems. And then also this works for administrative hires. If you're looking to fill an administrative role, if you're looking to fill an ISA role, you're in the right place. And if you're looking to make a marketing hire, you're in the right place. In other words, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this, this works for all freaking hires across the board, okay? So I hope you're ready. Let's buckle up and jump in. Here's the 4 hacks. Hack number one is I'm going to show you how to filter out misfits immediately, or at least how to filter out 90% of them, okay? You're gonna absolutely love this. This one hack right here can make literally the investment of your time into this webinar worth it. But that's not all. I'm then gonna show you hack number 2, which is how to make new hires stick, okay? How to actually get good positive traction with them and get results from them. Hack number 3, I'm gonna show you how to attract good talent. And hack number 4, I'm gonna show you how to pinpoint your best next hire. Now, one little thing before we jump in. Each one of these is just a single action that you can take that we've proven in the trenches for getting the result that I'm telling you that hack will get you. But this is obviously not, this webinar in its entirety is obviously not an end-all, be-all of how to go about and effectively build a team, okay? I've just simply taken 4 of the biggest, kind of some of the biggest, hairiest, nastiest little struggles and problems that we find a lot of our clients deal with, and then I've simply distilled it down into, okay, look, I know you're busy, I know you've got a lot going on, so listen, here's 4 hacks for your 4 major problems. If you're actually out there team building, expanding, and hiring, go apply these things and you will get results with them, okay? So that's kind of how I built this out for you guys. Again, it's not an end-all, be-all, but this will get you results if you apply it, all right? So hack number 1, how to filter out misfits immediately, okay? Hope you have your pen and notepad ready and you're taking notes. The first hack is something I call the audition versus the interview, okay? Now, most of us approach looking for new talent and onboarding new people through a process of the kind of what we think of as a traditional interview. Well, let me show you how we actually change it up and change it from an interview and actually take a clue from Hollywood and we use an audition process, okay? Here's what we do. We give them, whoever we're looking to hire, we give them a skill-related test up front so that it filters out most of your misfits, okay? Here's an example for an admin position, okay? What we do is we tell them in the job posting for when they reply to us that they have to type up a paragraph summary of a recent news story. To make it easy for them, we just put a link to a recent news story, okay? And what we want them to do is we want them to go and type up just a 1-paragraph summary of a recent news story. What we tell them also in further instructions in the job posting is we have them type the first 2 sentences of their paragraph in the following font. It has to be the color blue, it has to be in Times font and size 12. Then we say we have them type up the second 2 sentences in the following font, red, Tahoma, size 16. And then we have them type up the last sentence in the font of green, Lucida, size 14. Now, you might be wondering why, or you might have already guessed why we have them do this. The idea is that you're testing for attention to detail and the ability to follow specific instructions with somebody that you're already hiring for a detail-oriented position. Does that make sense? See, if you're hiring somebody for an admin position, you really need them to be detailed, right? They're going to be handling a lot of paperwork. They're going to be handling a lot of notes. They're going to be doing a lot of follow-up, right? They're a details person, right? If you're looking at the disc, you probably want them to be a high C, for example, right? So what you do is, listen, if somebody if somebody doesn't even send you a paragraph summary of the recent news story linked to, you immediately disqualify them. Like if all they sent you was a resume, they didn't do this, done. Next, if they sent you the paragraph summary, but they didn't follow the instructions for the font sizes, colors, and shapes and all that, next, done. Because guess what? If they can't follow the instructions, these detailed instructions on a job posting for when they're actually trying to get the job, do you think they're going to be any better on the job? The answer is across the board, no. So this might seem a little bit extreme, right, and a little bit OCD, but again, this is how you filter out misfits. Now, guess what? Guess what? For people who are a perfect fit, they will absolutely love this. When I started posting job ads like this, and we started posting job ads like this, the number of respondents, the people who even took the time to respond and send in a resume went way down, but guess what happened to the quality of respondents in terms of person match to job role match? The quality of that improved, okay? So for a marketing position, for example, you might have them submit a Facebook post they'd write up for a recently sold listing of yours, right? You might send them a link to a recently sold listing of yours and say, hey, in addition to your resume, send me a screenshot of a Facebook post that you would type up that would be, that we would promote on Facebook for a recently sold listing of mine. Or perhaps you can have them type up and kind of send you a mock example of a welcome email that they would put into your autoresponder series for new leads, right? Or maybe what you can do is you can have them send you a screen recording of them logging into an email tool like Aweber, for example, and setting up a list and setting up a dummy welcome email, right? So showing you competency around being able to run a tool like that. Maybe you have them do all 3, right? Think about that. Should I let them show you that they can write copy, that they can write a decent welcome email, that they know how to run a tool? Now, obviously, you can change it up, but I would recommend for a hiring position that you do at least 2 to 3 little skills tests like this. I'm telling you, the quality of the people who will apply, because again, if somebody doesn't send these things along with their resume, you just don't even immediately disqualify. Boom, done, delete, in the trash. This helps you streamline the hiring process so much. So for an ISA position, for example, right, you could try giving them a few of your old leads and then have them record calls to those folks using Skype, right? And if those folks pick up, you get a recording of that. If they leave a voicemail, you get a recording of that. And again, all you got to do is just send them some of your old leads that you might think are dud leads. You don't have to tell them that. Just, the idea is that you already know that they're dud leads and they're probably not going to work with you. But hey, throw them to the wolves, kind of, so to speak, and see how they handle it. Obviously, you're not expecting them to succeed in turning that prospect or that lead into a client, for example, right? If they're an old lead that you've already scrubbed. But what it does is it gives you the ability to hear how the heck they handle phone calls, right? Which is like 80% of the game when it comes to ISAs, right? Their tonality, their cadence, their pace, how they sound, right? That's what you're looking for in a phone-based person, right? Then the other thing that you want to see is that can they actually have the stones, or or do they have the confidence to do that and send you a recording, right? I remember one time about 9 years ago, when I was a real estate agent, and I had folks coming in for a marketing assistant position that I was interviewing for. And I once had a gal come in. One of the people that came in was a gal that came in, and I had 3 people coming in that day for the same position. And one of the things that I was doing is I just gave them the phone and said, here's a client of mine. They need a follow-up phone call from me on this. Pick up the phone and leave them a voicemail or talk to them and tell them, give them this message from me. I remember one gal in particular, she got so nervous and she started literally sweating, and then she stammered and stuttered on the whole phone call. And literally and I understand there was some pressure to it, but literally all I had her do was call and leave a client a voicemail updating them on something that I was working on for the client, right? Now listen, if somebody is that nervous with making phone calls and they'd rather be just a kind of an admin person behind the scenes with spreadsheets, they're not a good position for a marketing assistant / like ISA role, right? So you want to test for that. Now, what happens if you go through this process is you get 2 things out of this, okay? One, you get to know that they can follow specific, unique instructions, okay? Which, as you can imagine, is going to be important for you and them later down the road. Number 2, they can, you'll know that they can demonstrate a basic level of competency around a task. Okay, does that make sense? Good. Let's move forward. Hack number 2, how to make new hires stick. But I know I'm moving fast, but that's because I've got a lot to cover. If you guys are typing any questions into the chat box, I will check that after this webinar, okay? Just for the sake of time, I got to keep moving through it. Hack number 2, how to make new hires stick. Okay, I call this hack the pilot project, okay? Now pay very close attention to this, because this hack right here can save you countless thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours and lots of frustration, okay? Here's what we used to have to do as real estate agents, and here's how actually most real estate agents do it even to this day. You map out every single task that you want that new person to do, right? You want that new role to fulfill, okay? Then what you do is you put together training around every single task. Then what happens, you have to block out massive chunks of time in the week to train them hands-on, right? Then you only then to have them come back for more answers from you next week, eating up more of your time, right? Then we try to also have to end up trying to train them on tools that we ourselves don't understand really well anyways, okay? And then we end up having to redo a lot of the work ourselves, right? And then we end up realizing that all that time spent training without the result cost us more time than just doing it ourselves. So we end up doing it ourselves, right? Does that sound familiar to anybody? Have you gone through this process? Anybody, right? If you've been hiring, you've probably gone through this process many times, okay? Well, instead of doing all that, what we figured out that works really, really well is to pilot one process, okay? Now here's how that works. What you do is you pick just one thing that you want to stop doing yourself, all right? And you want to get that completely off your plate. And then what you do is you focus on getting them onboarded and competent with that one thing for the first 30 days, Okay, regardless of whether it's an ISA position, an admin position, or a marketing position, you pick one thing that you're like, okay, in my mind, if they can do this one thing really well and get it completely off my plate, that's a big win for me. Okay, pick one thing. You might have 10 things, right? 20 things, who knows? But pick one thing and then focus on getting them onboarded and competent with that one thing for the first 30 days. Because what you're going to do is you're going to limit the amount of training time on your part to just that one process, okay? And that focus, what it's going to do is that it's going to help you optimize that one process, and you're going to get that one process completely removed off your plate a lot quicker than if you're trying to unravel the ball of yarn on 10 plus tasks or processes in your business, okay? Now the idea here, the whole point of hiring somebody is to get your time back so you can focus on revenue producing activity, right? And so that you can spend more time working on the business, not in the business, okay? So understand this, that effectively delegating just one process or task is actually working on your business, right? When I present this to agents at first, oftentimes they're like, well, why would I hire somebody for only one thing? That doesn't make any sense, Andre. I've got like 15 things I want my marketing assistant to do. I get that. But see, the problem is this: the quicker your hire is competent with one process, the sooner you've purchased all that time back forever. Okay? But if you get caught in the weeds and get stuck in the mud trying to onboard 10 to 15 processes and you're trying to train them all, they're going to have questions around every single one of those. They're going to need feedback and support around every single one of those. So guess what? You're actually going to take on an entire new job of having to train them almost practically full time, or at least 10 to 20 hours a week that you're now taking away from doing revenue producing activities or just doing the dang thing yourself, right? And if it doesn't work out well, at the end of 90 days, you're firing them and you're going through the whole process again, right? This right here is an incredible, dare I say, magic bullet. The reason is because, again, once you have them competent with one process, that's an entire thing off your plate. But the other side of that coin is the onboarding of them is less demanding on your time because you're just focusing on one process with them, right? And then for them, it's easier because you're only giving them one thing. So you're allowing them to learn one thing really quickly, really fast, and produce results for you, okay? If you follow this, then you're going to get two things. One, you're going to know whether they're incompetent or it's a lack of your systems and process. I can tell you from experience, many times when we see agents let somebody go and they say because that person was incompetent, the stark and dark truth, so to speak, is that actually the agent had a really bad onboarding process, a really poor training process, or quite often, and if you're honest with yourself, you probably have chunks of your business that are like this. You don't have any real systems or process in that area of your business. Well, if you're trying to onboard 10 to 15 different tasks or a new person, what happens is that you actually, in all honesty, after the fact, cannot say whether that person was incompetent or whether it was lack of systems and process. But if you focus on just one thing and they can't do that well, then you can actually accurately say that that person was incompetent or was a misfit. Do you see what I'm saying? And then the second thing that you get out of this is that you then get a process for delegating tasks and processes going into the future. Because if you've never done it successfully really well before, or if it's always been a struggle before, if you take somebody through an onboarding process around just one task or skill or thing that you want them to do, you can then go through and realize how many training sessions it took, what kind of training it took, and then you can take a step back and say, okay, now I know how to delegate additional tasks and processes in the future, whether more to that same person or to new hires, right? And that level of confidence is going to give you some predictability and certainty around how you're going to actually get return on your investment into new staff. Hack number 3, how to attract good talent. Outsourcing versus out-tasking. This is a fun one. Let me break it down for you. What you want to do is you want to take the $300 to $500 that you would have spent posting on a new job ad on quality job sites, plus whatever your time is worth spent on writing job ads, posting it, etc., right? All that whole hamster wheel that I described earlier. You want to just take that money you would have spent, and what you want to do is you want to simply offer it as a hiring bonus through your personal network, so you get an army of people working on your behalf. Okay? This one thing completely flips the funnel upside down, and it can completely flip your efforts, the effort required on your part, upside down, right? You're going to basically buy a bunch of your time back. Instead of having to post a job ad in a bunch of places, instead of having to post a really good, create a brilliant job ad, all you got to do is you got to simply send it out to your personal network of people that you know in the industry or even outside the industry, but people that you know well who may know somebody with these sorts of qualifications and skills. And you can simply say, hey, if you send me somebody, if they come through you and I hire them, I'll pay that person a $500 hiring bonus. Now, you're not paying the person who referred them to you, you're paying the person who the new person that you're hiring. But what it does for the referral partner, or for the person referring that job applicant to you, is it makes them look good to you and to the person they're hooking up with a good job, right? It's social currency. This works so wonderfully well, though, because it's really funny is if you say, hey, I'm hiring for this job, and you ask somebody, do they know of anybody? Well, they might get an answer. But if you say, hey, if you bring me somebody that I like, I'll give them a $500 bonus just because of you. That little shift in how you present the job opportunity, it can bring an amazingly different response and level of engagement from your network. Additionally, remember hack number 1, where you have people go through little skill tests. Include that in a little Word document and give that to your referral partners or to people in your network. Say, hey, by the way, if that person is interested, along with the resume, this is what I want them to do. Do you see what I'm saying? And so what happens is you're still able to leverage hack number 1, and if you're smart, you're going to leverage hack number 2 and say, by the way, this job is so fun, I'm actually just going to have them take on one process so we can make it easy to start. And if I like them and they're a good fit and they can show competency, I'm going to hook them up with a $500 hiring bonus. Right? Totally different. Flips the funnel totally upside down. And you can get an army of people working on your behalf. You can get a whole network effect going. What this does is that you attract a higher level of talent because you get the positioning of, I'm offering a bonus. Think about all the money that you would have spent on job sites, posting job ads, all the time you would have spent, whatever your hours, whatever your time is worth per hour, it might take all the time you would have spent on writing a job ad, posting job ads, going through that whole process, literally making the $500 bonus, $300 to $500 bonus is actually cost savings for you, right? If you think about it, you're actually saving money by offering the bonus. But suddenly you raise the caliber of yourself, the perspective of yourself and your team, because now who offers a hiring bonus? People with good resources, right? People with their shit together, so to speak. So when you do this, you're able to kind of flip the funnel on its head and flip it upside down, and you're able to attract higher quality people because you're offering a job bonus, a hiring bonus, and you're doing it through your personal network. And of course, your network doesn't want to hook you up with bad people, so you're kind of using them to leverage and filter people out, okay? By the way, you should send this out to other agents in your office and people you might be working with. Sometimes teams downsize. Sometimes people, maybe they had support staff for a couple of listing partners who then went off on their own, and those listing partners maybe didn't take the support staff with them, but now there's no role for that support staff. Well, if they're, that real estate agent who owns that team, is a quality individual, they still want to look out for their folks, even if they can't give them a job anymore. Well, guess what? They could fit you with somebody really well. All right. So again, this here, the idea of outsourcing versus outtasking is really important. Now, why am I calling it outsourcing versus outtasking? Well, because this is how you can get somebody experienced and currently working but unhappy to actually pay attention. What do I mean by that? Most of us start the hiring journey by asking this: what is the cheapest solution for getting this done? Because we want to manage our finances tightly, right? That's kind of why we started off like that. But this is actually one of the worst ways to start things off, because you truly do get what you pay for when it comes to people, okay? Most agents aren't really delegating or outsourcing, but rather they're doing what I call out-tasking, okay? But with no process, system, or relationship in place, okay? How many of you, just thinking for yourself, how many of you have an Elance or now Upwork nightmare story, whether it's with a web admin, with a webmaster or an administrative assistant or somebody doing some sort of a task for you? I cannot begin to tell you how many Elance or Upwork nightmare stories I've heard, right? I kind of call Upwork like the Tinder for getting things done. That's what I call it jokingly, right? It's like, well, you know that when they're on there, you're not the only one that they're working with or spending time with, right? And you know that it's not necessarily going to be a high quality relationship, right? We all know what they're on there for, right, with Tinder. Well, to me, Elance and Upwork tend to kind of be the Tinder of getting things done, right? You go out there and you're not really delegating effectively. You're not really creating a process. What you're doing is you're just trying to throw tasks out there to get them done. But because you have no process and no system and no ongoing relationship around delegating that piece of your business, what happens? You get inferior and subpar results. You end up with nightmare situations, and you end up constantly spinning your tires because you've got to go through a bunch of hires, okay? So instead, what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, what is the most reliable way I can get this taken off my plate forever whenever you're looking at something in your business that you want to systematize, okay? That way you can start getting real leverage in your business. And when you start thinking like this, and you realize what you would normally spend in dollars and in time on going through the typical out-tasking process, which is actually what most agents are doing instead of outsourcing or delegating effectively, offering that $300 to $500 bonus and using your network a little bit more aggressively becomes a much smarter way to do it, and you can see the light in it because you can see the wisdom in it, because now you're going to get access even to people who are currently employed and can prove that they know what they're doing because they already have a job doing it. They actually just might be unhappy for who they're working for, right? And so that's an opportunity for you to attract some of that good match talent that just might be unhappy but could do much better with you, if that makes sense, okay? So the two things, when you apply this hack, the two things that you get out of this is that you're attracting people in your network, which will typically be higher grade because you're using those referral partners, or your network is kind of your gatekeepers, really, because they don't want to do you a solid. They don't want to, set you up for a bad situation and then they look bad, okay? And then the second thing you're going to do is you're getting real delegation and leverage, right? You're getting real delegating. Looks like I misspelled the word there. You're getting real delegation and leverage, so you can actually get big chunks of your time back, and so you can stop going through the process of hiring and rehiring and rehiring and re-onboarding and retraining over and over and over again. Okay? Flip the funnel upside down. Offer a decent little job bonus, use your network, and you'll be amazed at the difference of results that can come in. Hack number 4, how to pinpoint your next best hire. This actually segues with hack number 3, and we call this the 3 E's. Now, when we work with our clients, and you've met some of them a little bit earlier, and the reason why they stick with us and the reason why they hire 2, 3, 4, 5, in Ben Kinney's and some of the other clients' cases, they have 6, 7 virtual real estate assistants and virtual real estate professionals placed with us. One of the main reasons why they stick with us for so long and work with us and let us keep supporting them is because of what we discovered as the 3 E's. This is one of our critical formulas that we personally go out and in our company at MyOutDesk, this is how we attract, pre-vet, pre-filter, pre-screen candidates to make sure that they're an optimal match. And I'm going to give you this in a nutshell so that you can use it as well, okay? And here's the 3 E's. 1, you're looking for somebody who's experienced in already doing the job that you're hiring them for. Hiring, earlier in hack number 3, I talked about using your personal network. Yes, use your personal network, but do not take I strongly advise against giving somebody a job who's never held a job, has no experience in that area, and is just somebody's, kid. Look, we all have to begin somewhere. I understand that, but especially if this is your first or second or third hire, Don't do that. Hire experience. They must have experience doing the exact role or job that you're hiring them for. Okay? It's just a yes or no, black and white, especially early on. Maybe if you have a little bit of a bigger team, you can do somebody a solid, you can do somebody a favor and hire their son or their daughter or their niece or their nephew or whatever, and you kind of give them a leg up in the world and give them a chance, okay? I understand that, right? I'm not being heartless here, but for your first, second, or third hire, or for any critical role hire that's going to be really important to you, and especially if it's a full-time hire, I'm telling you, as long, use the 3 E's. And the first E is, are they experiencing it? Meaning, have they worked in that specific type of role doing those specific exact functions? The second E is expertise. Not only do you want to know that they've had experience in that exact job role doing those exact types of tasks, but secondly, you want them to be able to demonstrate that they have expertise on different tools, processes, and systems related to that role, okay? If you're hiring somebody as an administrative person, what does that look like? Well, you want them to be a Microsoft Word ninja, right? You want them to know how to use Word and Excel and PowerPoint. You want to be able to learn how to use, you want them to know how to use email applications. You want them to know how to use the filing systems. Whatever it is that's going to be requirement for specific different kinds of tool experience, tool and resource management, tool application and resource management, I should say. You want them to be able to demonstrate competency around these, which goes back to hack number 1, test them for something, right? Test them for competency with 2 to 3 small tests around things that would relate to their job role, okay? And the third E that you want to look for is employed. Now this one's a little funky, but you actually want to see that you would prefer candidates who are currently employed than people who are in the job line, okay? Now, for us, the way we do it is we actually recruit people who are already currently employed in that job, and then we actually give them a hiring bonus. So we use hack number 3, just the way I shared it with you, and we use hack number 4, which is now why we have over 1,500 currently actively placed virtual real estate professionals supporting over 1,000 teams, because we've got this down to a freaking science on our side of it, all right? And the third E, the third leg of that stool to make it stand up and work is employed. You always want, as a rule of thumb, it's much better, and you always want to be able to attract and recruit a new hire who is currently employed in the same freaking job that you want them to fill on your team, and be able to recruit that talent away. Think about this. Think about all the countless hours and the thousands of dollars that you can burn and waste on hiring, right? Trying to find people, hire them, train them, onboard them, and then fire them, and then rehire, and keep going on that hamster wheel, that treadmill, over and over and over again, right? You're much better off offering a $500, even $1,000 signing bonus, getting somebody to come over, and you know that it's going to stick from the first time. And you know you've got a quality person who already has experience, they have expertise, and it is proven by the fact that they're employed doing the very thing that you're trying to hire them for. Okay? When you think about what I said in hack number 3, when most of us as agents go about first asking ourselves the question, how can I get this done for the cheapest amount of money? What's the cheapest way that I can get this solved for done? That is literally the worst way you can go about trying to fill for a role. What you want to ask yourself is, what is the most reliable way that I can delegate this effectively and permanently, such that I get a bunch of my time back and I can focus on revenue producing activities and working on my business, not in it. And the 3 E's, as simple as it sounds, they sound easy and simple, but if you stick to them, it's actually a bit of a process. But I'm telling you, it will completely transform your hiring results, okay? Now, the other thing I like to say that I want to share with you is, you're going to do this. The only question for you is, are you going to do it now or are you going to do it later? Okay, and that's a point that I make with any of the agents that I coach one-on-one here in our company, any of our agent clients that I coach, is that you're going to end up having to hire using these processes that I've described now or later, but you're not going to be able to build a good, effective, high-performing, high-quality team doing it the way most entrepreneurs, small business owners, solopreneurs, and agents do it. You just won't. Because this is what it takes to hire effectively and delegate effectively in this day and age, right? So everything I've described for you that you're taking notes on, I just want to make it very clear. What I've shared with you today, you're either going to start doing right now, right away in your business, or you're going to end up doing it later, right? You're going to be like, where's all those notes that Andre shared with me that one time from those 4 hacks that they learned from placing over 4,000 real estate professionals? Gosh, that was a great webinar. What was that all about? Well, you're going to go back, you're going to get those notes, and you're going to start applying them. So I'm asking you, please stop wasting hundreds of hours of your time, tons of frustration, and pulling your hair out with people that don't seem to get it, and wasting also thousands of dollars on that vicious cycle. And just start applying what I've shared with you today now, okay? And listen, when you apply this last hack, the three E's, the two, amongst many other things, the 2 of the things that you're going to get and that you're going to know is that you're going to know that they're already producing the results you're looking for, okay? It's like, going to a gym and hiring a trainer who's really unfit, right? Or getting financial advice from somebody, from a homeless person who lives under a bridge. Yeah, you might be better off going somewhere else for your information, right? Or for your training or for your support. Well, it's the same thing with hiring somebody. It's the same common sense, right? Here in this case, you're going to know that they're producing the results you're looking for. And 2, the other thing you're going to know is that you won't have to train them from scratch, right? If they have experience, expertise, and they're employed, you won't have to train them from scratch. You just simply have to modify a little bit of what they do to your preference. Let me tell you, it is a lot easier to modify to your preferences than to train somebody from scratch. Have you spend thousands of your dollars, hundreds of your hours on them, only for it not to work out, or even worse, have them go get licensed and then have them go compete against you because you gave them a break, a leg up into the industry, versus hiring somebody who's employed in that role because they're just happy being in that role and you know that they want to be part of a team. All right, that's like a third bonus that I threw into this slide. So to recap real quickly, the 4 hacks are: 1, I shared with you today how you can filter out misfits immediately by giving them a 2 to 3 simple skill-related tasks for the role that you're looking to hire for. And hack number 2, I showed you how to make new hires stick by simply piloting one process with a new hire instead of trying to dump a bunch of things on them when you yourself probably don't even have a good process or system in place. You don't have pre-built training in place, right? And then both of you are freaking frustrated. So don't do that. Pilot one process. Get that completely off your plate and you'll absolutely love it, because then you can just do that with the next process, so on and so forth. Hack number 3, I showed you how to attract good talent, which is to offer a signing bonus. $300 to $500 usually can work wonders. You can go up to about $1,000 or even more for us, if you've got the budget and you want to, find somebody super top level, and then what you want top notch, I should say, and then you want to use your personal network as much as possible for this, and kind of turn that funnel upside down and get an army of people working on your behalf to bring you somebody. And then hack number 4, how to pinpoint your best next hire by using the 3 E's, right? When you converge those 3 E's, it's like pinpointing the exactly right person, okay? Which was that you want them to be experienced, you want them to be able to demonstrate expertise, and you want them to be currently employed, if at all possible, to be currently employed in the role that you're already employed currently in the role that you're hiring them for, okay? Now, let me ask you a question. Did you feel like you were drinking out of a fire hose a little bit today with how fast I was moving? You probably did. Now, I promised you in the emails that went out, there's absolutely no pitch in this webinar today, and I'm sticking true to that. I'm holding true to that. So what we've done is, I'm sure you in the past hour, you can agree that it's been time well spent so far, right? I can't cover everything you need in an hour webinar, right? And I can't cover everything even if we had all day. So we're not it's very rare to be on a webinar where there's no pitch, right? But we're trying out a crazy experiment here at MyOutDesk for the first time, okay? And what we've done is we've put together a special free offer so you can get everything you need to know beyond what you've learned here today, or how to best apply what you've learned here today to your business, okay? So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share this with you and see for yourself if this isn't totally raising the bar even more than I've already done with the content that I've delivered. So here's a crazy experiment that we're trying out. What we're doing is we're giving away for free something we call our 7-figure agent map, okay? Now, what is our 7-figure agent map? What the 7-figure agent map is that it's going to be what you can do is you can get access to a closed door 45-minute session with one of our 3 team coaches who are standing by, right? Leslie, Paul, or Devin. Now, they're standing by right now, and you can get access to them for a free private 45-minute closed door strategy session around team building. Okay, now these are the same coaches. This isn't all of our coaches, but these 3 are the same coaches who are currently working with our roster of 7-figure agents, right? Not all of our clients, you know, we're supporting over 1,000 teams. Not all of them are 7-figure agents. But the crazy experiment that I've convinced everybody here at MyOutDesk to try is like, hey, let's get a few of our best coaches who are currently supporting our 7-figure agents right now, and let's give agents who are trying to make that cross, right, jump that hurdle from, you know, solo agent, maybe their first or second hire in place, and they really want to scale, let's just give them access to our 7-figure agent map and help them implement it for their business free of charge, okay? This way, you can just simply take and model what our current high growth clients are already doing, right? Because if it's working for them, I mean, it's, you know, business is principle-based and process-based, right? So with this, you can model what our current high-growth clients are already doing effectively and successfully for their businesses, and you've met some of those earlier, right? Tim and Julie Harris, Andrew and Angela Duncan, Ben Kinney, Lisa Archer, right? Anali Williams, Ken Wimberly. You know, as Tony Robbins says, if you want to achieve success, all you need to do is find a way to model those who have already succeeded, and those words could never be truer than in what we're applying them to today when it comes to hiring and team building, right? Now, the thing about this, though, is because I'm not selling anything, because we're not selling anything and it's an experiment, and we've never actually done it this way before, this is first come, first served, okay? And we're limiting this is a hard limit to 25 spots, which already it feels like a lot for 3 coaches to deal with, but, you know, we're giving them 2 to 3 weeks to schedule a time with you guys and then be able to give you a private closed door 45-minute strategy session around how to actually build out how to scale your team the way it would work for you in your market, right? And so you're going to walk away with your own 7-figure agent map, right? And you're going to have a process and a system based off of what our current 7-figure clients are doing, okay? Now, this private 45-minute call with them, just like this webinar, is going to be no pitch, all coaching, okay? No pitch, all coaching. And what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to get rid of guessing which roles will be your best next hire, because our coaches will be able to show you. You're going to be able to get rid of creating subpar job descriptions and roles. You're going to be able to get rid of writing ineffective job ads. You're going to be able to get rid of hiring total misfits for the role, even though they might interview well. People can interview well, they can write great resumes, but that doesn't mean that they're a great fit. And if you have ever had some hiring misfires, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're going to be able to get rid of wasting hundreds of hours on hiring, onboarding, training, firing, and then most viciously repeating. You're going to be able to get rid of burning thousands of dollars on mishires as you try to scale. You're going to be able to get rid of losing huge chunks of your prime revenue producing energy and time to the whole process, okay? And you're going to be able to get rid of being unconfident in your hiring, onboarding, and training process, because you'll actually have, again, what we call our 7-figure agent map, and you're going to be able to follow that for building out your team, okay? And of course, if you want to, and if it makes sense for you and you find it valuable, you can, of course, ask about our done-for-you service, and our coaches will be certainly happy to answer any of your questions about that. And so if you're anything like me and you would be curious as to, well, why does Ben Kinney have 6 virtual real estate professionals with you guys? And why does Lisa Archer work with you? And why do Andrew and Angela Duncan work with you? Why do all these people work with you? They can answer those questions for you as well, okay? Now, how you get a contact, this is first come, first served. And the way you take advantage of one of the 25 slots available is to dial 1-800-583-9950. Now, we've got those three coaches. We've got Leslie, Paul, and Devin standing by right now, live. And if you just want to ask them questions about implementing the 4 hacks you learned, dial that number anyways, okay? And they'll be able to work with you, okay? It's 1-800-583-9950. Now, a couple of quick pointers for those of you who are getting ready to call or before you call. And that's this. We all know that information alone doesn't do anything for us, right? It's information applied, right? And so I know that you've probably been on a lot of webinars before, and you've got a lot of great content before, but, you know, what happens the next day? Well, the next day, it's all, you know, you get excited on a webinar, you hear great content, but then the next day, it's crickets, right? And you go back to doing things the way you were doing because, well, you go back to your habits, right? So what we've done here today is, I think that, you know, what you're able to do is you're able to take the information you already learned today, get access to a coach who's working with 7-figure agents right now, and get yourself a process. It's not just information, but you actually have a plan for implementing that information. Okay, so you have your own 7-figure agent map. And then speaking of habits, right, as I've said before, you've probably been on a lot of great webinars before, but the hardest thing, you know, and you've gotten great content, you've seen great content. But the thing is that we as humans, we're creatures of habit. Okay, so I have convinced the powers that be in our company here to make, you know, try this crazy experiment, let this happen for free for 25 agents, where we can kind of help you guys break your habits by really walking you through how you would do it differently for your business, okay? The thing about webinars is, especially this webinar, in my humble opinion, of course I'm biased, but it's a lot of great content, but of course there might be some tweaks that make sense specifically for your business, your market. So this is a great way for you to break your habits so that you you get results and impact from this webinar for your business. Now, please do not call unless you're actually in the process of building your team and expanding your team, okay? This is not for agents who don't have a team or for agents who aren't actually in the process of hiring. This is for agents who are in the process of building their team and hiring, okay? This is best for agents doing a minimum of about 40 deals a year, okay? That's kind of the best, 40 deals and up. Right now, we have clients that come to us who are doing already 150 to 200 deals a year, right? And they start working with us then. But really, this is best, if you want the 7-figure agent map, this is best if you're doing 40 deals or more per year. If you're doing anything less than that, your main goal right now is time management, right? There's 3 levers in every agent's business that you're gonna pull as you grow. One is learning time management. Then you're gonna start having to build, you're gonna go out and start hiring and delegating, right? And then after that comes scaling and building and the vision, right? And so if you're doing at least 40 deals a year or more, you're kind of crossing over from time management to actually having to hire and delegate, okay? So this is best if you're doing at least 40 deals a year or more. Now, if you fit that criteria and you talk with one of our coaches and you get your 7-figure agent map and you ask about our done-for-you service, and our coaches tell you that it's not a good fit at this time, please don't be offended, okay? Please don't be offended if our coaches give you the 7-figure agent map customized for your business, but then don't extend an opportunity to you or an offer to you to work with us as a client, okay? We are very particular about the kind of teams that we work with. We're very particular and we're very precise about how we go about working with real estate agents. And also, we are very expensive, okay? Which again is another reason why this experiment is so crazy, because we're giving away our initial coaching process for typically that goes to paying clients, okay? But just again, this is a crazy experiment. I want to try and see what it feels like to help out 25 agents. And if some of you become clients, great. If not, great. But I want to see what happens if we just start impacting our industry by giving away some of our best insights. and then also helping you guys customize your plan for your own business for how to scale your team, okay? But just, again, please don't be offended if you don't get an opportunity to actually then continue working with us as a client, okay? We're very precise about who we work with, and we're also having to be very expensive. But with that said, for the first 25 people who take action on that number I gave you, you'll be able to get your 7-figure agent map sorted out for you, okay? If you dial that number and our coaches are all tied up, which they already may be, they're upstairs and kind of to the left of me in the building where I'm at. If the coaches are tied up, then what happens is our phone system is set up to redirect you to our rapid response team. And then what happens is that the rapid response team will take your information, they'll ask you a few questions, and then they will they'll forward that on to one of the coaches, and then the coach will get back to you, or the rapid response team will just simply schedule a time for you with the coach right there on the call, okay? So if the coaches are tied up, if the lines are busy, you'll just get redirected to our rapid response team, and we'll take care of you there. Again, that telephone number is 1-800-583-9950. Here's the link for the free gift that I told you about at the beginning of the webinar. You can go to myoutdesk.com/launch, and there you'll be able to download Mod Attract, Mod Hire, and Mod Launch. Those are all proven processes and templates and documentation around being able to attract talent, typical job posts that work well, and then Mod Hire, which is the process of a better process for interviewing than what most agents do or follow. And then Mod Launch is kind of a process for, as it says, launching new hires so that they actually work out. So you can go get that free gift at myoutdesk.com/launch. And now we can go into live Q&A. And that number to call, right, is right there on the screen. It's 1-800-583-9950. Okay, dial that number if you want to get one of our 25 available private closed-door 45-minute coaching sessions, strategy sessions with Leslie, Paul, or Devin. And again, if the lines are already busy, which I'm sure they are, you'll probably get redirected to our rapid response. You will then get redirected to our rapid response team, and they will get you they'll get you sorted out. Okay. So now with that, let me go to the chat box and see if there's any questions coming in that I can answer. So I get a question that's being asked, so we do the same exercises for a virtual assistant? And I would say yes, no matter who you're hiring and how you're hiring them, you want to just be able to, you can use these hacks to hire them, whether they're local, in your community, or whether you're hiring them virtually. Another question that's being asked is, with some of the things that you're sharing, like the signing bonus, would that apply with a virtual assistant in the Philippines? And the answer to that is yes, it would apply to anybody that you're hiring anywhere around the world, right? You can check for employment. You can check for whether they're currently employed somewhere else, or even hiring. Here's the thing. Even offering the bonus is just going to attract a higher caliber of people. And the other thing, too, is there's a correlation between offering a bonus and then giving them the shit test. Remember, like in hack number 1, when I said you want to test them for 2 to 3, skills-related things to the role that you're hiring for? Well, kind of, I jokingly call that the shit test, right? You want to test them to see, you want to give them a little shit and see if they can pass it. Well, what happens is if you offer a decent bonus, then higher caliber people are more likely to respond because of the bonus, and then they're more likely to do a really good, to show you, kind of really show you their skills, demonstrate their skills and their competency and their expertise for you through your little shit test, because you're showing that you can invest in and you value high quality talent. So the hiring bonus thing is very, very important. Chip just says, I just called and your people have no idea what I'm calling about. Okay, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Chip. Chip, do this. Type your, that must be some sort of a confusion. Chip, type your name into the chat box. Again, I don't know how busy the lines are and how many people are getting phone calls. If it's being redirected to our, rapid response team at this point, again, I don't know how many people are calling off this webinar, but just go ahead and type your email into the chat box, and then I'll have somebody on the rapid response team follow up with you, Chip. And actually, since you registered for the webinar, I already have your email address on the registration list. So Chip, what I'll do is I'll just forward your email address to somebody on the rapid response team, and I'll have them set you up with a time with one of those 3 coaches that are standing by. If it's not today, then you'll just have to have a conversation with them when they are available. But I'll see to it that you get, since you're an early action taker, I will make sure that you get one of those 25 slots. All right, guys, well, that is going to be it for today. I'm going to jump off and get going. The hour is up, and I've got a meeting at 11:30. I hope you've been taking careful notes on everything so far that you've learned. And again, you can dial 1-800-583-9950 to get a private closed-door 45-minute strategy session with one of our 3 coaches, where they'll give you, basically, you will walk out of it with your own personalized 7-figure agent map. And you'll know how to scale and hire for your team, okay? With that, guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you in the future.